My name's Kirsty and I'm the manager of Rashley Care Home. I have worked as a care home nurse since I qualified as a nurse way back in 2002, and I've worked with the company for about 15 years now, as a staff nurse, then as deputy and now as manager. I think I've always had a really strong connection with the older adults in my life, both my grandparents and also their brothers and sisters. It was who I grew up with, it was who looked after me, and when I decided to go into nursing, it just seemed a natural call to want to look after older adults. Being on the hospital wards in the long-term elderly care units at the time, to me it just wasn't the life that people should have at the end of their lives. They would be sharing a room with 6 other people and have one little cupboard to their name, and it didn't sit well with me. And then I'd done a placement in a care home and it just made much more sense, and I decided to take that path. I think what I find the most rewarding is the fact that I work in my own community. I'm looking after a lot of older adults that I grew up with, who were my girls' brigade leader, who was my school teacher, who was a neighbour. And it's very rewarding to be able to continue caring for them, but also for their families, because as I said, it's about relationships. Although you're caring for that older adult, you're also caring for their family, for their daughters or sons or husbands and wives. It's just a lovely connection that you build with people. I think one of the biggest issues in social care is trying to attract staff to social care. There's not a lot of people want to come and work in care homes. I mean, I'm talking way back 20 years ago now, and everybody was gobsmacked that I had chose to make a career in care home nursing. Even when I went for my first interview, they were like, "Are you sure?" It's like, yes. And I think it's still the case. People think that for nurses, when you qualify, you go to the NHS. That's what you do. They can't see that there's another career path there. And we've had students in the home who would beg to differ, who have came into the care home with maybe not so far as saying negative thoughts towards care home, but their perceptions weren't exactly favourable, and their attitude to being sent to a care home on placement, they were like, "Oh, a care home." And by the time they've left, they've really enjoyed their experience and have actually asked to stay on the bank with us. I think the biggest thing that needs to change is not just politicians, but politicians, people that perhaps haven't ever encountered anyone in social care, they've never had a loved one that's needed care. The wider community needs to value social care, needs to value caring as a skilled workforce. Speaking to a teacher about it the other day, people don't go to school and think, "Oh, I'm going to be a carer when I grow up." Why? They should. It's a really valuable job, but so fulfilling in itself. And our carers are having to go through SVQ3s. They're developing themselves every day, just like any other workforce would.